Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, DNJ Reads. I'm Danielle, and today I'll be talking about all of the books I DNF'd. So I don't want to be too negative on my channel, but I thought that this would be a fun video idea, kind of to let you guys know what the books I have DNF'd are, my reasonings for that, if I plan on reading them again, if they're hard DNFs and I'm never ever going to pick them up again. But I thought this would be a good way to talk about those and see what your thoughts are on some of these as well. So please don't take offense if there's a book on this list that you absolutely loved that I did not. Everybody has their different tastes and a right to their own opinions. So going from there, I'm just going to head right on into it, and we will start at the first book. So I am just pulling up my Goodreads right now with my list, and the first book on the list is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I remember that I had the audiobook out for this one, and I was listening when I was driving somewhere, and for whatever reason, I feel like the character got stuck in an elevator with the love interest, and whatever it was like the character's tone of voice. I just could not stand it. She, in the beginning, just annoyed me so much. I feel like I got maybe 20 pages into this and I DNF'd it. It was just not for me. And I actually don't think I will pick this one up again because I have read one other of Jasmine Guillory's books. It was one of the short novellas for the Kindle Unlimited thing that they did. It was a couple different authors. I read Jasmine's and I absolutely hated it. It was like 40 pages long and I should have DNF'd it, but I didn't want to DNF a 40-page book. So I just pushed through, but I think I gave it like 2 stars. So I'm pretty sure that this author is just not for me. Maybe she would be for you. I've heard people like her stuff, but I think she is just not for me. So next up on the list is Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. And this, I remember it being very political. I think they were going around and canvassing for a vote of some sort, and political things are just not my thing. I don't like reading about them. I don't like even like watching anything about it. I kind of try and stay away from politics, but this book was just not for me. And yeah, looking at the Goodreads, it was volunteering for their local state Senate candidate and canvassing. So yeah, this was just not for me, and I definitely won't be picking this one up again. But next up on the list is Sinner by Maggie Stiefvater. And this one I actually read the first 3 books in the series. They are Shiver, Linger, and Forever. It is a shifter series. There's wolves and it's a whole like love story. I actually really liked it. It is YA, but when I picked up Shiver, this is one of the side characters from it. I don't know what it was. I just really was not feeling this story at all. I was listening to it through the audiobook and it was just not my jam. I doubt I'll ever pick this one up again since it is YA and I'm kind of getting out of the YA genre, but we'll see. Who knows? I do like Maggie Stiefvater's writing, so I might just pick something else up when she comes out with something new. Then the next one up on my DNF list was Furyborn by Claire Legrand. This one has pretty good ratings. It is a stunning original fantasy following 2 fiercely independent young women centuries apart who hold the power to save their world or doom it. So for this one, them being centuries apart, I think was what was throwing me, because there was a really big historical feel to when we went back all those centuries, and I'm not big on historicals. So this was something I picked up. I think I was just trying to have a little fun. It was an audiobook and I just wanted to get into a new series, but the audiobook was just not doing it for me. It was really long. It looks like it's 501 pages, so the audiobook was pretty long if I can remember for that, but this one was just not for me. So I was kind of confused and I was like, this would be a much better book to read physically instead of audiobook, but I don't think I'm ever going to pick up the physical book. It's just not really high on my TBR at all. And again, following with the I didn't like the audiobook train, so I put it down. The next book up is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. So this is book 1 in the Gentleman Bastard series, and it follows an orphan. And I do remember they're kind of by the water, I want to say. And I don't like things that have to do with water set at sea. I feel like they were on like a port town. I don't know. Again, it was just the audiobook and I just wasn't feeling it. It was too hard for my brain at the time. I've found that fantasy audiobooks are best read when I can actually physically read the book as well along with the audiobook, and I didn't have the book at the time. So I got really confused and I was like, I'm just going to put this down. So The Lies of Locke Lamora is down. That one I might pick up again, but if I do, it will be physically reading it. And then the next one I DNF'd was Gone Girl. This one was interesting. I know a lot of people like this book. It has over 3 million ratings on Goodreads, and I wasn't having a bad time with it. It was one of the first audiobooks that I did that wasn't like a fantasy audiobook. It was thriller, suspense, whatever you want to call this. But I enjoyed it. I just had to return it and I just kind of gave up. I never borrowed it back again. And I already know the twist because of seeing the movie. So I was like, I guess I don't really need to read this book any more than I already have. Maybe I'll go back at a later date and read it again, but this one is just kind of done for now. Then again, another audiobook I DNF'd was The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this one, I only DNF'd it because I did not like the audiobook narrator for it. I picked up the old narrator. I know Andy Serkis has done a new version where he narrates it and he's Gollum in the movies. And I really enjoyed the Lord of the Rings movies, the Hobbit movies. So this was something I really wanted to pick up. I think I will definitely pick this up again, though, with the Andy Serkis narration. That is the one I want to do. I just have not gotten back around to it. I have too many other things on my list right now, but this is one that I will definitely be picking up again at a later date. I mean, I think I even have like a physical copy of this so I could listen and read along at the same time. I kind of feel bad having this one on my DNF list, but we'll get to it eventually. Then next up, I have Not the Girl You Marry by Andie J. Christopher. I remember vividly that I was trying to reorganize my shelves when I had put up a new shelf and I was listening to this audiobook. And the whole time, I probably only got like 40 minutes into the audiobook, and I was so annoyed at the main character. I could not stand either of them. They were just so annoying. I don't even remember what this book was about, but I just vividly remember thinking, I can't stand this main character. I do not want to listen to this book anymore. So I stopped it. Actually, looking here, it does not have that great of ratings either. It has a 3.2 with 9,254 ratings. So I feel like a lot of people didn't necessarily enjoy this one. But I think the reason I picked it up in the first place was because it was a How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days kind of book like that. And I love that movie. That was such a good movie. My dad, it was one of his favorites. So we watched it all the time. So I was like, this one might actually be good, but definitely was not. You might like this one if you pick it up, but this one was definitely not for me. And I will not be picking that one up again. Then next up, I have A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I have the 5 books that I think are out right now. I don't know if any more have come out. I have them in those mass market paperbacks. I have tried to read the first book at least 2 times now, And I feel like both times I got into a point where I stopped at the same point in the book and I just could not keep going. I love Game of Thrones. I've watched all of the TV show. I have not watched the new House of Dragon yet. I do want to pick that up, but at the moment I don't have whatever it's on or something like that. And I don't really watch a whole lot of TV, so it's not something that I'm itching to get to right now. But I really would like to read a Game of Thrones. A couple of the guys from my husband's work have been reading it and they've been enjoying it. So I'm like, I really want to pick this back up again. But I'm super afraid that if I pick it back up, I'm just going to do the same thing I did the other two times. I'm going to start it and then stop at that same place. I mean, maybe I'll pick it up again if he ever ends up writing the next book in this series. I did not like the way the show ended, so hopefully he does change that and does something a bit better than what we got there. But the next one is Tryst 6 Venom by Penelope Douglas. And the main reason I DNF'd this, because I did not know it was this type of book when I started with, was because it is a bully romance, and I absolutely hate bully romances. I have read some of Penelope Douglas's other stuff before. Birthday Girl, one of my favorite books by her. I absolutely love that. I have read Corrupt. I have not continued on with that series because that series also had some of the bully vibes. And bully is just not a trope that I really jive with at all. I don't like it. I don't like seeing them get bullied and then end up with that person that bullied them. I don't think that that is right. I don't like that. I feel like sometimes, like, how do you forgive them for certain things that they've done? It's just not my jam. But this being a bully romance, as soon as I found out, I was like, yeah, no, this book is going to be a DNF for me, and I don't think I'm going to pick it up again. I was really hoping that I would like it, though, because it is female-female, and you don't get too many of those from Penelope. Then the next one that I DNF'd was Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. I was ebook reading this one. I think I borrowed it from the library. I had high hopes. It is a male-male romance. One of them is British. They both might be British. Didn't get too far into it. I really don't know. But it looks like it is fake dating. One of them has a reputation that is not all so great, and he's trying to make it a little bit better. But I think they met at like a party or a club or something like that. And I just remember like really not liking the main character. I think the love interest was fine, but the club setting, he was just kind of all rude and not nice. And I just like was not feeling this in any sort of way. So I put it down. This one, though, has a 4.1 rating and it has 135,000 reviews. So people do like it. It could be a good book. I just really did not like the main character. And if I'm not invested, I'm just going to put it down and not even think about it again. So have not picked that one up again and probably will not. Then this next one is At His Will by Trent Evans. This was a very, very dark bully romance again, which I guess I didn't realize. I kind of just picked it up from the cover. I didn't really read into it all that much. So this one does include a publisher's note. At His Will includes spankings, rough sexual scenes, intense and humiliating punishments, and strong dom sub themes. If such material offend you, please do not buy this book. That was aimed at me, and I will not be buying this book or picking it up again. I think I got like 10 pages in, and in the first couple pages, he had already like humiliated her, punished her, and he was so rude and just like a terrible main character. I was like, how is he ever going to redeem himself and come back from this? This is just not the book for me. So I put this one down, and I will not be picking this one up again at all. No, thank you. And then next one up is Sing Me to Sleep by R.M. Virtues. This is one that I DNF'd about halfway through. It's not even that long. It's a novella. It's 168 pages, but I was just not caring about what was happening at all. This one follows like a sleep paralysis demon, and for whatever reason, I thought I would like that. It was not doing it for me. I could care less about what was happening in this book, and I just did not want to continue on. So I decided not to, and I'm all the happier for it. I really did think I was going to like this one though, because that sort of thing interests me. I've actually had a sleep paralysis incident only once in my life, and it has like scarred me. So anytime I see anything about that, I try and read up on it. I find it super interesting, but this again just was not doing it for me. So won't go back to that one. I might pick up something else by this author. I have not yet at this moment, but we'll see. So then the next one I DNF'd was Melt for Us by Molly Doyle. This one follows Quinn, who's stuck in a blizzard with 3 masked men. They spend the holidays together. Christmas and New Year's will never be the same. 'Tis the season for giving and receiving. Holy, not so silent night. This is a dark romance, suspense, reverse harem novella with MMF and MM scenes. That sounds right up my alley, so I'm not really sure why I DNF'd this all that much, but let's see what some other people say. Yep, looking at the community reviews now, I definitely remember why. So it looks like there was a sexual assault reenactment and a rape plot. Everyone's kind of saying that it was corny and a weird plot line, and it just felt weird. And I feel like that's probably why I stopped it. It is a dark romance. I like dark romance, but not all the time. So I wonder if all that weird vibes, I was just not feeling it. I actually don't think I'm going to continue with this series at all. So that was that one. And then next up is Burdens We Carry by Dana Isley. I know this author had a whole thing going on with her for a while, and people were kind of not reading her stuff because of some other things she did. I don't want to get into that, just look it up. But I feel like there was some representation in this one that I didn't like. I think the way that the male main characters were talking about the female character, I think it's supposed to be an arranged marriage, and her alabaster skin and violet eyes are sweeping Owen off his feet. But there was something about the way that they were talking about her and describing her when she was walking down the aisle that I just couldn't get on board with. And this author had already had some problems. So I was like, at this point, I'm just going to stop this book and not continue on with that. But next up is Flip by Briana Michaels. And this was actually kind of the same thing. I think for whatever reason, either the previous book that I just talked about, or this book, or both books, the main female character was albino. I think in the other one I said like her alabaster skin, but I feel like whatever it was, the way they were describing her, even in this one, I was just not about. And I think I got like 2 chapters into this Briana Michaels one, and I was just not having it. So again, couple of novellas, I just can't if it's not good. So we're just going to stop there. And then my next DNF is going to be Delicate by Sara Cate. This one is about like a tattoo artist who tattoos in this like town where college kids come and spend their breaks. Is it like summer break or spring break? All of their breaks, they come here and they go to the beach and they do things. I just had no real feelings for this one. I was looking for something that had the tattooing aspect to it. I love tattoos. I love reading books about tattoos, but this one just was not doing it for me. And I felt really bad DNFing a Sara Cate book because I absolutely love her. But I will say this is one of her earlier ones, and it just was not doing it for me. And I don't think I'll be picking this one up again. Then next up, I DNF'd Platinum by Wynter Adams. This only has 8 ratings, and it's at a 4.5. So apparently I'm not one of those ratings since I DNF'd it, but it is an erotic short read, kinky office romance, contemporary romance fiction, affair with a boss romance. I remember that I picked this up for a readathon. I think it was for the Aurelium Magical Readathon, or it could have been actual Magical Readathon when it was called that still. And it was for the prompt of like a color or like a type of metal since platinum is a metal. And this was like the only one that I could find that didn't have like a whole ton of pages on it, because this is only like 83 pages. But again, I was just not feeling it. I thought I was going to try and push through the 82 pages, but I just could not. So I DNF'd this, and I will not be picking that one up again. Again, don't even really remember anything about it, but that's what happens. Sometimes you just got to DNF something to make your life a whole lot better. So next up, I actually DNF'd Becoming by Michelle Obama. This was one that I was physically reading, and I had to give it back to the library at the time I was reading it. But I do want to pick this one up again. This goes into her life as a child and how she went to school and everything like that. It was really interesting. I do remember enjoying it. It was just had to go back to the library, and at that time, I think it was newer and I wasn't able to get it back out again. Now I should be able to. I actually think I might pick up the audiobook for it, but that is one that I do want to pick up again. We've only got a few more to go, so we're going to continue on. And next up is Anastasia by Sophie Lark. This one I DNF'd. Again, with the historicals, I'm not big on historicals, and this felt historical to me. It is an Anastasia retelling, so the time period is historical, but this one, I don't know what it was. I don't think I've read any Sophie Lark books, so I had high hopes for this one, but it was just not for me. So I think I put it down like 100 pages in. This one, though, I might pick up at a later date because I know a lot of people like Sophie Lark, and I do like Anastasia, so I would like to read a retelling of it, but just not for me at the time. Maybe I'll pick it up again. Then I DNF'd Want Me by Neve Wilder. This is a book about two roommates, one calculus exam, and a whole lot of extracurricular activities. This one is a male-male romance. This is a steamy, standalone, new adult college romance that unfolds across 6 episodes following Nate and Eric, and it's bundled into this one collection. I think I didn't like how this book was separate episodes like that. I felt like it wasn't cohesive, and the romance was like, okay, I just wasn't feeling it really. So I didn't want to have to continue on and finish this book and then have to finish the rest of them. So I just DNF'd this one. I don't think I'll be picking this one up again. It just wasn't for me. We're getting closer to the end. I think I have like 5 or 6 more. So next up is Not So Lucky by Trelina Pucci. This one, I believe, follows a girl who's in, I want to say, Las Vegas or something. She meets this football player and his friend. They have like a threesome or something, and they end up getting married, maybe? I don't even really know. This one is more of a case of I definitely will be picking it up again since I own the ebook for this. It was just at the time this book was putting me in such a slump trying to drag through it. So it was like, I think I'm just going to DNF this and we'll go from there. But I know that there's more books in this series that I'm also excited about. So I want to try this one again and then continue on with the series. Then we have 2 books in a row by the same author, which doesn't happen often, but I have not read anything else by this author since it's happened. So the first book is The Man Upstairs by Jade West, as well as Dirty Treats by Jade West. So The Man Upstairs is about this guy who lives upstairs, this girl downstairs. She goes upstairs and they end up sleeping together. And it's a whole lot of like BDSM, stuff like that. And it was a good story, but again, I feel like I was just slumping through it. And there was this one part that I was like excited to get to, but I hadn't gotten there yet, and it was dragging on. And I was like, I just don't think I'm going to continue on with this book anymore. So I put it down. I very well may pick it up again, but I feel like it was getting into some like weird territory because the mom also liked the guy upstairs, but the daughter wasn't telling her she was with him now. And there's all sorts of stuff going on, but I don't know. We'll see about if I decide to go back to that one. And then the other one by Jade West, which was Dirty Treats, is it looks like it was just a short Christmas novella that I was trying to read. and I just wasn't feeling it. This one included like 2 short stories by Jade West, and sometimes I like her writing and sometimes I don't. And I feel like this one just had kind of bad writing, so I just decided to put it down because I did not need to read it. And that's how we go from there. Next up is Who Stole the Cookie from the Cookie Jar by Brooklyn Knight. I started this series for, I think, another readathon that I was doing. It fit a prompt, so I decided to go with it. But this book, it was just not for me, I think. This was an age gap BDSM, and it is a spin on nursery rhymes. I can't remember what the other one was, but this one is a younger man, older woman, and I don't even think I got very far into this one. I just wasn't feeling it, so I put it down, and I'm probably not going to continue on with the series. So next up is Vicious Devotion by Evita Weiss. This one is following Fear. Her pack has been destroyed. Her alpha is dead. She's going to be married to the enemy Timber Pack. And I feel like they go get her and they tie her up, and she's some sort of creature, and they tie her to a tree and they have their way with her. And I don't know what it was. I just like was not feeling this book. And it is a monster romance of some sort. I just can't think of what kind of monster she is. But there was a lot of violence and gore and like toxic abusive stuff in this. So it just was not hitting for me at the time. It might now. So this is one that I'm thinking I might go back to and check out again, but we will see. And then last up, I have Invitations by C.M. Nez Costa, which is book 3 in the Girls Weekend series. This one I picked up recently, and I have read the other 2 books. Let me say that. I just could not remember anything that was going on in the first 2. So I need to either skim those, reread them, look at a summary, synopsis, do something with the first 2 before I pick this one up again, because I do want to continue with the series. I really love CM Nez Costa. This series was really good. I remember giving the other 2 like high stars. I just can't remember anything that was happening in them. It's been so long. So this one was kind of a DNF for now. I will definitely be picking this one up again at a later date, but just for now, it was kind of slogging me and I just couldn't get through it. So I put it down. So those were all of the books that I've DNF'd since around 2017. Again, I've probably DNF'd more than that, but those were the ones that I have concretely DNF'd that are on my list that I am now keeping track of. If you think I should pick up any of those again and give them a second try, definitely let me know in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on some of these if you've read them, and I will see you next time. Bye!